One of the great things about eating in a keto and low carb lifestyle is that you can enjoy cheese still occasionally, and today we'll show you how to make some crackers to go with it. Welcome to Pop Keto, where we aim to help you live a sustainable keto and low carb lifestyle. Today's recipe is so simple and so good, and we're going to make crackers that look just like the fancy ones you buy in the store. Before we go into it, if you are one of our new subscribers, I want to say a big thank you to you. We really appreciate you clicking the subscribe button. If you haven't yet, you're more than welcome to. And if you want, you can even have a look at a few of our other videos before you commit. Okay, so we're going to get into today's cook. What we have got is some seeded crackers here, and they are so good. Now, normally crackers are made out of a lot of wheat flour, but today we are replacing a lot of that with almond flour and also some ground psyllium husk powder, which is going to be great. And then a lot of our other ingredients are seeds, which you'll probably know from their oils. I mean, for example, we've got sunflower seed, sesame seed, and linseed, and all of them you can buy the oils from in store. So that's where we're getting our healthy fats from. We've also got some pumpkin seed, which is yum, and coconut oil and water, a bit of salt, that's all it is. All right, so let's get into it. Now, in this bowl, we already have 40 grams of almond flour. Just ground almonds, 40 grams, but bam, there's your start. Now the rest of the dry ingredients, it doesn't matter the order that you put them in. So I'll go through here. We have 55 grams of linseed. Now if you don't have linseed, you could also use flaxseed, not a problem, interchangeable there. So the same amount of sesame seed, 55 grams of sesame seed going straight in. Now you'll notice that I am using weights rather than cups or spoonfuls. It just helps make sure you get a consistent result each time you do the recipe. Okay, same again, 55 grams. This time it is sunflower seeds. We're just gonna chuck them in. Pumpkin seeds, this time it's only 45 grams that we're putting in there. Next we have 10 grams of psyllium husk powder. We just stir that through, mix it all up so it's nice and mixed, really. All right, so far, so good, pretty easy, yeah? Okay, for our next two ingredients, I am going to use a scale, so just popping that down there. This is 45 grams of coconut oil. Now, we're going to use some boiling hot water in a moment, so it doesn't matter if it's melted or not, just 45 grams worth. And don't worry, this is not gonna make it taste very coconutty at all. Next is a cup of hot water. Good thing about water, mils and grams are the same. So 250 grams of boiling hot water. I'm a couple of grams over, a couple of mils over, not a problem with this. All right, that coconut oil is melting really quickly, and now we just stir that all in together. Now, as you're stirring, the psyllium husk is going to start forming a gel with the water, and that's really what's going to bind this together. You can see now that's happening. And you can see that's gelled up now, and it's quite a thick mixture. That's perfect. In the meantime, I have been preheating our oven to 150, 160 degrees, depending on your fan force. Okay, so now we'll put this on trays. I'll put it aside for a moment. Here we have 2 cookie sheets, which I've just lined with baking paper. I have a third piece of baking paper, which we're going to use when we roll it out, and a rolling pin. Now you can't roll this recipe directly. It's just going to glue itself to your rolling pin. So that's what the third piece of paper is for. All right, so we just plop maybe about half this mixture onto a sheet. And we're getting our third piece of paper here. Put that on top. Now, because you've got that piece of paper there, you can even start flattening it out by hand to start with. We are rolling this out to about 3 millimeters thick. The good thing with this recipe, or one of the cleverest things with this recipe, is that some of our ingredients, the sunflower seeds, are about that 3 mil thick mark. So as long as you're not pressing down too hard, it'll actually just roll out at the thickness we need it to. And you can see, I'm not even rolling it properly. I'm more or less using the rolling pin to continue pushing the batter around the tray. All right, so I've got some empty bits, I've got some overflowing bits, so we're just gonna even them out and roll them again. I guess even pressing would probably be a more accurate word than rolling. All right, so I've tidied that up. I'll give that a little bit more of a press down. Now, once we've got that all pressed flat, we are going to add some sea salt flakes. Now, please don't use just your normal iodized table salt. Yuck, no good. For something like this, it's actually worth splashing on it, being a little bit fancy. So I've got the Meldon sea salt flakes, and I'm gonna put a good 3-finger pinch of salt onto this tray's worth. And a little bit more, so 1.5 pinches. And with that third bit of paper, I'm just gonna give it a quick press to put that salt into it. Just lightly like that. And that one is ready for the oven. So I'm just gonna put this aside while we do the other. Press it down. Done. All right, so we're gonna put these in the oven now. In the oven, they are going to start drying out just a little bit. We've got them at a low temperature, so that's what's going to happen. The water is going to evaporate, they're going to firm up, and then the coconut oil is going to help it all sort of cook off. So in about 15-20 minutes, we're going to pull these out of the oven, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into shapes. If we tried doing that now, it wouldn't hold, it would just sort of goop back over where we tried to make those impressions. So I'll show you in about 15 minutes. All right, so it's about 15 minutes later. Let's have a look at this. All right. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually start to dry out already. I can already see there's a nice skin formed, it's firming up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut in some shapes. Now, depending on how fancy you wanna be, you can even use like little biscuit or cookie cutters to cut out circular shapes. It leaves a bit of leftovers that you can probably nibble on. But today, I'm just gonna do some rectangular ones. So just pushing your knife down. You're not actually cutting it as such, you're just pushing your knife through it and just leaving a big score mark through it. You'll cut through the seeds, that's absolutely fine. You want them a nice size, you want them big enough that you can put a bit of cheese on them. Or perhaps some low carb friendly pate or something like that. Just got to turn around to get the other side. Just continuing with those same lines that we already made up to the other end. Just like that, and these go back into the oven for another 25-30 minutes or so. Okay, I know I said an extra half hour, but I've actually had them in there for another 45 minutes for them to get to where we need them to be. Let me just grab them out. All right, so what you can see is the edges here have started curling up, and that's absolutely fine. The way I find it best to tell if they're cooked is by tapping them. And you can feel that they're not gooey, that they're nice and crisp. So we're gonna let these cool, and then we will try one out. So it's only been a few minutes, it is now nice and cool, and we can break that up. Now, because we scored these earlier, look at that, they are just falling apart at those lines that we've put in there. So that is perfect. Now, if you didn't want to score them or you want to have another go at this, you could still just break it up by hand, give it a bit of a rustic feel, and that could look good on a cheese platter as well. So we'll break these up. And there you have it, a big pile of crackers. Now let's talk about storage quickly. If you're going to store these, you want to store them in an airtight container, but you also want to make sure that they've cooled properly before you do that. Now you could cool them in the oven, that keeps them nice and dry as well. But if you put them into an airtight container while they're still warm, they're still creating steam, and that's going to stop them from keeping their crispness. So all we need now is a little bit of cheese to go with them. There you go, a bit of cheese and some crackers. Let's give them a bit of a taste. All right, so this is just the cracker. You can see there, it's lovely looking. You've got those little pockets of bubbliness underneath them, and they look great. They look like something that you would buy in a store. All right, let's try them. Yeah. These are so good. I love these. I can eat a whole batch of these. I shouldn't, because even though they're low carb, they add up, but they are so good. Straight away, you're getting that salt hit from the flakes that we put on top of them, and all the seeds have roasted off, and there's this really lovely nuttiness. You can really taste it from things like the sesame seed. Wow, I love these. I love these. And you know what? They are gluten-free as well. So if you have someone who is gluten intolerant or celiac, this is perfect for them if they're coming around for a party or a cheese platter. One more with a bit of cheese. That is so good. I'm not sure if you could hear it. I'm just gonna put this in front of my microphone and snap it. Ready? It's crispy, crunchy, it's salty, it's so good. And you saw, it was just a case of mixing them together, whacking them in the oven. And you could even prepare these the day before if you're having an event of some kind at home. Guys, you need to try this recipe. This is one of my favorites. I keep saying that. But one of the things that we want to do is, if we're bringing recipes for you guys, we want them to be good. We want them to be tasty. We want them to be something that'll help you actually keep your keto sustainable. And sometimes when you're eating keto and low carb, you can miss something crunchy, and these are brilliant. So have a go. If you do, put them up on the socials and tag us. We are popketo_ on Instagram. And I'd love to share your photos on the channel. If you've liked this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, all those sorts of things. Stay happy, stay healthy, and we will see you guys next week with another video. Bye. They're still creating steam, and that's gonna stop them from keeping their crispness. And that's gonna stop them from staying crispy.